No, I'm starting from the beginning. Okay. You're going to start by preparing your yarn. So prepare the skein so that the strand of yarn that you're going to wind comes easily off the skein. I like to just put it over my wrist like this, and when the strand that I'm winding comes up to the top, I just move my wrist and it comes right off. So you're going to spend a bit of time figuring out what's the best way to unwind the yarn, and then you can start winding the ball. So I take the winding piece, the end of the yarn, and I hold it in my hand. Really should be filming from the other direction. This is the first time I've done this, so it's a little rough. You're going to hold the yarn in your hand and wrap around 2 fingers until you have about 1.5 inches of fiber or yarn around your index finger and your middle finger. Once you've got about this much, then you're going to take it off and put your thumb in the middle. Careful to still hold this end. And I want you to think of your thumb as the axis around which the planet yarn revolves. You're going to hold the yarn on your finger with these 2 fingers, your middle finger and your first finger. These are going to become the celestial bodies that turn your planet yarn around its axis. So then I start winding and turning the planet at the same time. So my goal when I'm winding a ball of yarn is I'm not going to be wrapping willy-nilly like you see a lot of people wrapping and then they turn, change directions, and I don't do that. I sort of try to replicate what a ball winder does, and you're turning the ball as you wind. Now I'm trying to get close. Okay, so turn the ball a little bit. Oh, this is a terrible picture. I've got to figure out how to do this better. Turn the ball a little bit every time you wind so that you're not overlapping. Now, I'm kind of a perfectionist about this personally, but I think it makes not only a beautiful ball of yarn, but also a ball from which you can knit very easily. One of the reasons for this is because you don't have lots of different strands tightly wound on top of one another. You end up being able to pull more easily from the center of the ball. So that's another thing to keep in mind as you're winding the ball. You don't want to wind tightly. You want to wind loosely. You have a nice even tension, not too tight, not too loose. Turning the ball with your celestial body fingers around the axis of your thumb so that your strands lined up next to each other. Now, as you can see, this is the mess that I created as I was preparing my skein, so I'm not going to usually have this problem because I had to try out a few balls as I was getting set up here and ended up with a pile of yarn on the floor. So I don't know if you can see very well the way that the strands that I'm wrapping are not over top of each other, they're just next to each other, they line up. And as I continue to wrap, I'm turning the ball, always turning the ball, and wrapping at an angle so that I have a beautiful shape, but also a practical shape that allows me to take fiber yarn from the inside and the outside. Now I'm finally up to the point where I'm going to start taking from my skein. So So it's going to go around and around, and every time I come up to the top here to my wrist, I'm just going to let the fiber go, the yarn go, and pull right over the top of my wrist. So you may have to adjust your skein a little bit to do this. See how you just let it go very slightly and then pick it up again. Now see, if your skein's not adjusted quite right, that's going to happen. So I'll have to keep working on it till it's right. Or you might have a friend who's willing to hold your skein for you. I don't usually rely on that, so I make adjustments as I need to so that I can be self-sufficient, which is something I advocate for all knitters. You should be able to wind a ball wherever you are and that sort of thing. Now, I'm going to stop here and just break the yarn and show you then how to take from the inside of the ball. So, see how the thread comes from easily from the inside of the ball and from the outside. So when you want to take from the inside and the outside of the ball, here we go. You just pull and out it comes.